So there you have it. A clip from a 1998, 99 series by the BBC, I think it was. I think it may have been earlier. About what they called the People's Century, which in effect was the century, like really influenced by Karl Marx in a big way. But you wouldn't get the BBC saying that. And you wouldn't have at the time, and you probably wouldn't know. But yeah, a century really influenced by Karl Marx and and yeah, it was a pretty good series. It was a pretty good series. Uh, it had breadth, not too much depth, but breadth, which you'd expect from from a series like that. But it does bring me back, sort of bring me back. Not only take me back, but bring me back. Uh, uh, you know, it was quite strange to not look at the images, because the images have, from what I can remember, have been altered. But the music hasn't, and it's like yeah, it really did take me back to some great times. Uh, yeah. So the People's Century, in effect, Marx's century, and the influence of Marx, and so on, and but what about this century? I'd argue so far it's a century of machines and institutions. Uh, from where I am, what I can tell, because I can look from the day of that photograph being taken onwards. The photograph by the photographer that they tried running around stopping me from saying it. It's actually relevant. They get their trees and all the rest of it running around trying to stop me saying stuff like that. From that moment on, I've not really known anyone apart from me and my mum have any initiative. She was eventually, of course, brainwashed in the interests of primarily those people. But yeah, yeah, 25 years now as well. Also, obviously, I am in an environment where no one has any initiative. I hear people here, there, and all over the place. You get people, people driving cars. None of them acting on their own initiative. The phone call with the Tesco delivery individual, the intercom conversation, countless examples. No one really acting on their own initiative, and it's quite strange. And it sort of taps in with the film I watched today, The Stepford Wives, apparently from 1975, and it's a brilliant metaphor for 2000. A really, it really struck me. It's a film that had a pretty big influence on me when I was a kid. But it was sort of that, and that's another indication of the influence of my dad's country. That mistrust of skepticism of institutions and so on. Whilst a bit of liberalism from my mom, sort of thing, sort of that mix, and conservatism from my dad. But also the influence of Thatcher and the people who led to the theories she adopted around individuals, families, which sort of we see an influence in this type of stuff. But again, concocted for a mass audience sort of thing. But yeah, sort of the influence of Thatcher. Not so much with the individual type thing, because whenever you see an individual, it's closely that individual will be closely aligned with the institution, with institutions, and their influence the century of so far, as far as I can tell, machines and institutions. But no one, like I say, over the course of since that photo was taken, over the course of 25 years, no one really. I've not come across anyone who went on their own initiative directly. I've come across no one who went on, who I've spoken with who went on their own initiative, including the only people apart from my mom that I had any sort of uh, relationship with, that I'd call a relationship. That's newsreaders, but yeah, yeah, really, the film The Stepford Wives. It did. There was so much in it that yeah, yeah. Yeah, I could go into detail, but it's best watch the film. You'll see, for example, when I went to the park, the type of stuff that was going on in the park, and the people there really thought they were part of something, and you see it in light of that film. I should have watched that film. I should have watched Stepford Wives a long time ago. You sort of see it. I mean, what may have led to me watching it. One of the things that may have led to me watching it was seeing this tree outside, like looking like she was lobotomized as she was walking along. But it's not only the act of that type of thing, but that's really what's going on in a way with this lack of initiative. I mean, I looked up today, and this is quite interesting. I mentioned stuff about the toddler yesterday and other stuff as well. How things are starting to click back into some greater sense of how things really are or really should be. For example, flies. As we get coordinated itches, we get. I'll have so I'll do that for a few seconds. Hang on a sec. Let's just so they get there. They can repeat this on the nightly news and give a commentary on it. Yeah, we saw a fly in the room. A fly, right? But I remembered. Hang on a second. Flies fly around light fittings, don't they? They sort of fly in straight lines that go in a circle, right? They don't go like that. They sort of go like that, round. And I can't remember whether it's counterclockwise or clockwise. But anyway, that's what they do. And I looked it up on this AI service, right? And they started giving it some bullshit again. These people working this stuff, no initiative, right? They tried to give some spiel about what it really was down to. Them flying around light fittings. Bullshit. So I tried to point that out, and then, they start with more bullshit. And it's, even the people, who are supposed to be so on the ball, lack initiative, and it's just fucking crazy. But yeah, watching the Stepford Wives was really good for. It's a really good metaphor for 2000, for what took place in 2000. Even though it's a film about women, I don't mind taking that as a metaphor to say it's sort of. I did look up about the links between patriarchy and paternalism, and the AI service. Even though I should be more sceptical than I am about this example of it, did draw parallels between patriarchy and paternalism. Breathtaking film that says so much about what's been going on, and how really truly dumbed down the attempts to juxtaposition me in relation to institutions, people, and so on and so forth, and all the rest of it. And it's just like, for fuck's sake, why didn't I watch that film sooner instead of like, for example, staying on social media, that was about as dumbed down as you can get, and some of the other stuff that was going on. I'm getting a bit heated in my face, for example, in a way I wouldn't be. That's the way it goes. Anyway, nothing major. But yeah, and it's sort of great film. Try and watch that film, and you will see the type of things I see. Then, of course, they run around trying to figure out. This is so crazy they are. Then they try and run around and think, well, how can we get on top of this sort of thing? It's kind of the medium, like I've said, the medium is the message sort of thing, isn't it? So they've tried at various times to crack out the Barley Water Brigade with sirens every 2 seconds, and other stuff as well. Kids, for example, again, no initiative. There's study. There was a study, Learning to Labour, by Paul Gilroy, I think it was. Maybe worth you looking at that, for how dumbed down it is now. They're getting all sorts of people, men, women, children, people in cars, and so on and so forth, who none, and like over the course, like I've repeated, over the course of these 25 years, and really after that photograph was taken, no one's really got on their own initiative with me, which sort of speaks volumes to me about what I say about institutions. That this so far, it seems, being the century of machines and institutional power, and in this instance, the institutional model of mental distress. Now, there's been a layoff of the drug-ins to some extent today. I'm not taking it in any way, knowing them the way I know them, the people behind these drug-ins. They'll just pick that up anytime they want. I wouldn't, that's just the way it is. But, yeah, let's just, right. Yeah, uh, watching that film, it was a significant step towards just getting on with my day, even though, like I've said countless times before, I'm drugged up not to fully have an embodied sense of it, of being in this flat for institutional power, no less. This paternalistic bullshit that I keep saying about care, which like, anyone with two brain cells listening to that intercom conversation can see through, sort of thing. Again, someone who couldn't think on their own initiative. I did incidentally look up on AI antonyms. That's words with the opposite meaning, right? An antonym of initiative, right? Didn't give me one. There will be some, but didn't provide me with one. So that's just anyway. But yeah, people with no initiative whatsoever. We see what happens when, for example, with that guy outside the coffee shop shaking his head off, going off his head, when they aren't. Given a plethora of instructions for how to go on, sort of thing. Also today, and it may change, on the base of drug-ins, no real. I looked down the sidebar of YouTube, and it seemed pretty lame and tame to me. They may try pissing about with that, but unless I'm doped up, then it won't have an effect. But then if they dope me up, then, like I said before, it don't make any sense to do stuff like that. Apart from trying to extend powers to stick me in detention on a psychiatric in a psychiatric institution, on a psychiatric ward. But anyway, that's the way it is. What else? I had a really nice beef joint today. I thought it may have gone off. I went through the last of my spring onions, which I'm pissed off about. Uh, so yeah, yeah, yeah. That's about it, really. Watched the film. It was good to watch the film as well. I mean, they were editing it, but like I said, if the last century was the century of Karl Marx, uh, this and by extension, a different approach to individuals, and so on. This century is the century of machines and institutions, and unfortunately, I find myself faced with an institution, that just conflicts with my background, who I am, and the way I do things. Again, referring to Stepford Wives, why I would be into a film like that, and why they may have a dumbed down response to me watching a film like that. I don't think so, though, for some reason. No. But yeah, why I would be into a film like that and other films like that. They tried to mark that down. They tried to pathologise that sort of thing. But it's that is in no small part a cultural thing, and it makes me wonder how the fuck, uh, you know, it took me so long to spot that, and why these people didn't spot that. But such was the nature of things, and such are the nature of things. In many respects, it's going to continue to be the case that I'll face an environment with people with zero initiative, no initiative. If I switch on the TV, there'll be no initiative there. None. if I read the book, the people like with the AI will probably lack initiative. That's just the way it is. If I go downtown, no initiative. And if I go on a psychiatric ward, no initiative. That's it's quite an odd world, quite an odd environment to find yourself in, sort of thing, where people do lack that. But anyway, I think I established yesterday how much I value a life of solitude now since my mum died. And since I stopped making use of the media, and brief interaction in a coffee shop would be about as much as I'd need, if that. The rest of it, I don't need at all. But yeah, sitting around reading books, having an embodied sense of being in my flat. I'm not gonna, you know, uh, you know, go along with any of the bullshit that I see. That's all a load of crap. But yeah, so I don't. Pretty good day. Not that many drug-ins, dope-ins. Which sort of make the point that I don't need to be on a psychiatric ward, institution, unit, whatever. But they'll concoct it any way they want, if they want. As we know, well as I know, if you're watching this, if unless you're beyond the dumbed down controlled audience, I'd argue, you ain't going to be able to see that. But yeah, Stepford Wives. Even if you are part of the controlled audience, try and watch that film. Apparently, they made a remake. I wouldn't bother with it. The 1975. Apparently, the 1975 version does a good enough job of hitting on something quite interesting about 2000, and certain scenes in it about times since. Uh, that did make me laugh as it put it in perspective. I mean, like I say, these people. This is you know why they can't grasp that this is a problem with them. It's how they do run around and try to run around off the back of stuff like that. That does actually get things in perspective. Um, you know, that's the way it is. But yeah, tonight I'll try and read. I've got a bit of motivation to read, I think. I wouldn't mind going for a coffee, but I ain't got I haven't done any exercise. And I may need a few days to do that, but in a few days I may be in detention. So until that happens, I might as well lounge around here and like half be here and half prepare for my time in detention again. So yeah, with yet more people with zero initiative. It's just like it is quite the bizarre scenario to find yourself in. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, apart from that, good day. Oh, I did get joys when I was in bed, trying to again. Yeah, that's the way it is, and that's just that. But yeah, seems like quite a nice day outside. Pity I didn't get to hear the dawn chorus and the chorus around dusk this year. Obviously, like with everything else, they do like to, exert their powers in ways they do. But like with the fly, as I said, that was quite. It is quite interesting that if certain things are starting to, become more realistic, more thinking, around stuff like that. Again, there might be an effort to block that. Who knows? It seems a bit crazy to me. But you tell me something about these people that ain't crazy, and I'm sure I'll be able to debate it. But yeah, that's about that. Yeah, so I'll wait until possibly Monday. I'll be detained. Maybe Friday, maybe Monday, if it takes place. And so I wait to see what happens, I suppose. And aside from watching the Stepford Wives and getting a lot out of the experience, a serious amount out of the experience. Yeah. Anyway, that brings this video to a close. Like I say, the last century was the century of Karl Marx. Maybe this is the century of Milton Friedman, and so on. The century of individuals and close, small units, small family units. According to Thatcherism, I think. I think that's been sort of in terms of power and priority, that's sort of taken a back seat to machinery and institutional power. I'd argue that this century really is more the century of machines and especially institutions. And it's just a pity that, to me, the institutions were not that I'd want institutional power. This to be a century of institutional power. Not that I've got a say in it. Me, I'd rather go for a cup of coffee, and doss around and read books. But Yeah, it's just anyway. What am I talking about? Right, that's what's Stepford Boys. It's a good experience.